Shabbat Shalom to everyone who's joining us online. We'll get started in just a few minutes with our service. In the meantime, if you are joining us online, I invite you to head into the chat and say a Shabbat Shalom, a welcome to one another as we begin this evening.
Usually there.
Right. You mean usually running around, you mean?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
100%. 100%. That is, how to fit 15 things in the space of 5 is my life. So.
It's your sermon tonight.
Yeah, actually, it'll be a blessing tonight.
Oh, good. I'm just gonna grab that stuff.
Cool. No, hang on.
No.
Hang on.
Just so you know, sorry, I think I brought in another copy. But anyway, this one we're not doing. Okay. I got it mixed up. Oh, this is from Richard about a review of a restaurant. Did you know?
Oh, cool, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's so funny.
And the closing song, which you'll remember from your bar mitzvah days, is this one, which we haven't done in a while, but the rabbi was, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
we did that all the time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, Mel, are you all ready?
Yep, is this for me?
That's for you, because online they won't be able to hear otherwise.
Oh, okay.
And it's over here. Okay, when you're ready, we'll get started. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's really good to be together tonight. I don't know if anybody else had the experience this week of, kind of a little bit gloomy this week, right? Did anybody else notice that? It's kind of it was June gloom, right? May gray, June gloom, right? July, hope for the best. July, hope for the best. There's something about Shabbat. I always think about that moment in the story of Joshua where they note a miracle as happening because it seems like the stars or the sun or the moon slows down a little bit. And the reason why that's a miracle is because that doesn't happen in our everyday, day-to-day life. Yet, there's something that comes along the way, and there's no slowing it down each and every week, that causes Shabbat to be this moment of needing to stop a little bit. And so often, we are the ones who need to say, okay, this is it. This is when I'm stopping. One last email, one last note on whatever it might be, and I'm putting away the work that might be there. But it is a beautiful thing when the world around us seems to reflect that same change. However we might interpret what that sunshine might be, it is a mirroring of perhaps a bit of peace in this moment. And so, let's begin our service together. Let's have that peace. Let's have that Shabbat. Welcome to everyone who's here. Shabbat Shalom to everyone who's here. And Shabbat Shalom as well to everyone who's joining us online on Facebook and YouTube and tilb.org. There is a higher quality stream at tilb.org. And so not only will you be able to see the service in a little bit higher quality, but at the end of our service, when we get to our Misha Berach, our prayer for healing, and our mourner's Kaddish, our memorial prayer, you can offer the names of those that you're thinking of in the chat. This Shabbat might be called it's Shabbat. Often, during Friday nights, we think about these evenings as a time to gather and a time to try maybe some new things. And so the first Shabbat of every month, that's a family Shabbat. We have our kids lead the service. Second Shabbat, we are deliberate in getting outside the box, seeing what kinds of new things. And this is the Shabbat where we take a mere few thousand years of honing what a good evening might look like and experiencing it. So tonight, we're going to have the opportunity just to sing some melodies. Some will be familiar, some will be new, and just go through the service as it is and as it's been created, as it's been honed to be. I want to, before we begin, offer a special thank you to two people who are joining us. Now, the first is David York. Now, David is such an incredible, I heard murmurings as soon as I said your name, David. You are such an incredible and important part of this community. In fact, I was talking to somebody the other day who took as a strong point of pride, and I'm sure you know who this person is, that her bat mitzvah was the very first that you were the accompanist for. And so many of the members of our community, myself included, we can't imagine what Shabbat is without you. You are such an amazing and important, just a moment ago we were talking about what it means to be a part of this leadership team together. David, it's always a treat for me to share this evening and to lead with you. And Daniel, it is a gift. I know that I've made this joke a couple times, so I won't make again that the sanctuary used to be over there, right? Yeah. And that this place seems somewhat familiar because you had your bar mitzvah here, right?
David was mine.
Oh, and David was your accompanist. There it is. That is, if not anything else, one of the most, I think, profound things about being a part of a religious community is we go all different ways in our lives, and we can still walk in this space and someone can go, Danny, and pinch your cheek. Daniel, as all of us know at this point, has a tremendous musical gift, and he is offering this to our community. And with our community, Daniel, thank you for playing this evening. Thank you for bringing your music, and thank you for leading together.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. I want to just offer a brief note as well this evening. At Temple Israel, we have a robust security system, all kinds of measures that we've taken, and the goal and the ideal is that many of them are not, we don't see. And that's deliberate. But there are a couple things that we want to note. And so one of the things that we want to share is that in our sanctuary, we have 3 different exits. There are 2 in the back and 1 here in the front. The 2 on the side here lead directly outside. If you were to go through those doors, the next door would be directly outside. Perhaps most importantly, however, the 2 exits in the back lead directly to the restrooms. I want to begin our service this evening with an opportunity to bring ourselves into a different space, to sing a little bit. We have words that have been passed down generation to generation, and it is a powerful thing to take on these words and this tradition. And at the same time, there are times where these words might bring us in, and other times where simply the melodies can allow us to have that Shabbat. And so I want to invite us to begin that way with a nigun that comes to us from the Breslov tradition. If you know the melody, I invite you to sing with me, and it repeats. So if you don't pick it up right away, you'll get it. It goes like this. Yai lai 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 yai lai la lai yai lai la lai 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 ya lai 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 yai lai la lai yai lai la lai 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 lai. That's the first part. I invite you to sing with me. Try it out, even if you feel like, I don't know if I got it yet. Just try it. Try it out. Let's sing it together. Let's try it out together. Here we go. Ya lai lai lai. It sounds beautiful. Ya lai la lai. Ya lai la lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 yai lai la lai yai lai la lai 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 lai. There's another part. It goes like this. Ya lai 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 yai lai la lai ya lai 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 yai lai lai ya la lai ya lai 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 yai lai la lai yai lai la lai 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 lai. Back to the beginning. Let's sing together. Ya lai 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 yai lai la lai. Sing it louder. Yai lai la lai. It sounds great. Lai lai lai. Ya lai 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 yai lai la lai yai lai la lai 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 lai. Let's sing it one more time. This time without the guitar. Here we go. Ya lai 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 yai lai la lai yai lai la lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 yai lai la lai yai lai la lai 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 lai. Sounds beautiful. Let's continue our service calling out words that have been offered to us from the Kabbalists so many years ago that there is something powerful to joining together and to singing out. And so let's join together on page 19 as we sing out these words of song. Let us sing out to God a new song. Page 15. Let us sing out to God a new song. Page 13. Yai lai la lai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Lai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Shiru ladonai Adonai. Sing unto God, Adonai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Sing unto God a new song. Let us sing unto God a new song. Yai la lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. You can kind of choose your own page on that prayer. Where's Jay would know the page, yeah. Yes, I forgot to mention that Cantor Cooper is, I don't know if you noticed, Cantor Cooper is not here this evening. And so I'm going to need your help. And I'm already hearing your voice. It sounds beautiful. So let's continue to sing together. Let's offer up these words. We're going to continue with a prayer that was also offered to us from the Kabbalists. Taking the moment at the end of the day on a Friday, they felt like there was something that they needed to add to the service. Originally, the Friday night service was just the regular Ma'ariv service. You would go, you would pray, and then you would go home. And they said there's something different about Friday night. There's something that feels different about that evening. And in order to mirror that, let's add some new words, some new prayers. And so some of the ways that they added to the service was drawing from the Psalms and the various different texts that are in the Bible. But we have a tradition that is ever growing, ever renewing, and so one of them wrote a poem, and it's perhaps the most well-known poem in our Kabbalat Shabbat. By the way, Kabbalat is deliberate in our name for the service because it comes from the Kabbalists. And he imagined Friday night being just like a wedding celebration. Two people joining their lives together, and with so much dancing and song and celebration that it's as if everyone around the world was celebrating with them. And so on Friday night, we liken this moment to a wedding celebration, as if each and every one of us are celebrating tonight. And so, not yet, but when we get to the final verse of our prayer, I'm going to invite us to rise and to turn to the door through which we entered our sanctuary, welcoming Shabbat as if she were here to join us on her wedding day. For now, I'd like to invite us to turn to page 20. Let's sing together. Lecha dodi likrat ka'ala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad. Hishmi anu el ham yuchad. Adonai echad Ushemo echad l'shem utiferet velit hila lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva orech kumi uri. Uri, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai, alayich nigla, lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, kabela, lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabela. Please rise. Boi v'shalom, ateret ba'ala, gam besimcha uvetzochola. Toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala, lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabela, lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabela. Well, please be seated. We have many different things that we gather for this evening, and later on we're going to have an opportunity to celebrate many of our leaders in our community, and tonight we also celebrate as one of our young people stands up and starts to take on some of that work of leadership. And so it is an absolute joy to call up McKenna and Fletcher, Amy and Darren as we light our Shabbat candles together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Well, I think that it is deliberate that as a community, we, right after lighting our Shabbat candles, right after welcoming and beginning the day on which one of our young people emerges and steps up as an adult, that we then have our prayer that calls to one another and reminds us of the power of being in community, being with each other. Quite simply, this evening, this community, it's not the same without one another. And so I'd like to invite us to turn to page 28 in our prayer books, and please rise in body or in spirit. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai, lai 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 lai, Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. Page 30. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, bechochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmeroteim berakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, uma'avdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzavaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We continue on the following page with Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Hukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Otanu limadeta Al kain Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu Ukumenu na'asiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha V'mitzvotecha leolam va'ed Ki hem chayenu Ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nege yomam v'layla nege yomam v'layla Ve'ahavatcha al tasir Mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael. We continue together using the words found on page 34. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. As we continue our prayer, I'd like to invite up McKenna to lead us in the Via Hafta. The rest of the congregation I'd like to invite to please be seated. All right. I can hold it for you if you want.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha veshinentam levanecha vedibarta bam Beshivtecha bevetecha, uvlechtecha vaderech, uvshochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu lotafot beineinecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, leman tiskeru, ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai, V'hitem kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Hotzietzi etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim. Miot lahem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
We continue with a prayer that is an echo of a song offered many, many years ago. They say that music is something that reaches deep within our hearts and souls, something that reaches far beyond the conscious mind. And I think that there is something, too, to prayer that reaches beyond the centuries and the generations. I think it's quite miraculous that words that we know through scholarship, at least for thousands of years, have been offered, are going to be offered again together and tonight. Not a reflection of those words, a new melody, but not an interpretation of what the Hebrew might have been, but the very same words offered year after year, generation after generation, and echoed again with us tonight. I'd like to invite us to join together on the words of page 40 of our prayer books. Let's sing together. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai Micha mocha nedar ba'kodesh Nora, Nora, Tehilot, Tehilot, Oseh, Oseh, Fele, Fele, Nora, Tehilot, Tehilot, Oseh, Oseh, Fele, Yai, Lai, Yai, Lai, 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 Yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, lai, la, lai, 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 yai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, lai, lai. Nora, Tehilot, Oseh, Fele, Nora, Tehilot, Oseh, Fele, Yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. Nora tehilot, osei fele. Nora tehilot, osei fele. We continue now with the words of Hashkivenu, a melody that may be familiar to us, although very confusingly written by a band called Matovu. Not the Matovu prayer, but Matovu. So anytime you see it in the books or whatever, it's very confusing. It says Hashkivenu, Matovu. It's very confusing. But this is the Matovu version. And I think that it captures something that is set in this prayer, the feeling of being comforted, being in a place where we can set aside what might be outside in the world. And sometimes that can be a physical space, and sometimes that's just a moment when we might need to stop and to feel a loving and caring presence. And so I invite us to sing together. We can join together on page 42. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us daily wrong from right, O Adonai. Amen. 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 We get a little exercise during the service as well. Our next prayer is the Vishamru, which has as its core, and at its core, this understanding of Freilich. Friday night is all about celebration. All of these prayers really meant to just bring us into a space where we can really enjoy the day, because it can come and go without us noting. And so we stop, we sing prayers that are meaningful to us, and we celebrate. At Temple Israel, we have a tradition of anytime the word et comes up, we either lift up our hands or actually come up off our seats. So I want to invite us to do a little bit of a practice of that. Let's, on the count of three, I'm gonna try it out. Norma, I'm seeing you giggle a little bit, so I'm gonna get your help on this. Okay, all right, here we go. Didn't mean to put you on the spot. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think we are ready for Vishamru. Let's bring some Freilich into this evening. Page 44. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berito lam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berito lam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael ot hi leolam. Ot hi leolam, oti le'olam v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et haaretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vaynafash, Shabbat vaynafash, Shabbat vaynafash v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. A little bit of freilich, a little bit of fun. Well, let's continue our evening, making our way into our core of service as we sometimes know that our lips open on their own. There are certain moments where we seem to have an experience of deep connection to something bigger than us, and often it can even come unexpectedly, but there are other times where we might ask for that, and certainly times where we might need it. Our tradition offers us an invitation and a reminder that sometimes we have to begin with an ask. Sometimes we have to take those steps. And so you may notice that some of us will choose at the beginning of the Amidah to take 3 steps back and 3 steps forward. Now, there are many reasons for this particular practice, and one of them is that sometimes it takes removing ourselves from wherever our heads might be from the week, stepping back and looking at Shabbat, and then allowing ourselves to step into Shabbat, to take the steps to make the ask and to perhaps hope for that deep and meaningful experience. I'd like to invite us to join together on page 46. Please rise in body or in spirit. Adonai, tzvatai tiftach, ufi agitehi latecha. Adonai, tzvatai tiftach, ufi agitehi latecha. Open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Adonai, Adonai, tzvatai tiftach, ufi agitehi latecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher chastei avot v'imahot, u'mivi geula livnei v'neihem, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim berofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha bal gevurot, umido melach, melech meimit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata l'hachayot hakol. Baruch ata Adonai, mechaye hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, v'kadoshim yom yehalelucha selah. Baruch ata Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Days pass, and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. And so, God, we ask that you fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk, and help us to see that wherever we gaze, the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay, touched by the holy, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. We continue silently, either using the words on the pages to follow or other words we might find in our hearts. We'll join together again on page 62. Yehiyu leratzon, imrei fi, behegyon libi lefanecha. Yehiyu leratzon, imrei fi, behegyon libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri vegoali. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri vegoali. Yehiyu leratzon imrei fi, ve'egyon libi lefanecha. Yehiyu leratzon imrei fi, ve'egyon libi lefanecha. Well, we are deliberate as a community in being built from the ground up and being one that is not only made up of a wide swath of members of our community, but led by our community as well. And so this Shabbat, I am honored that so many members of our board have accepted the invitation to join us this evening, to take on the blessing of what it means to be a leader in our community, because quite simply, we cannot be the place that we are without the leadership of the members of our community. Now, there's a practical piece of this. I'm always a bit amazed at the size of our staff and the number of things that we do. About 10 people serve maybe 1,500 people. And that's because there is so much leadership from the members of our community, those who step up to say, not only am I a part of this community, but I will take on the mantle of what it means to lead in this community. And so, I'd like to offer a special thank you to those who are completing service on the board. And so, if and as I say your name out loud, I want to invite you to please rise so that we can recognize you. Steve Gordon, Bobby Horowitz, Lori Arroyo, Dan Felsenthal, and Gail Levy. These members of our community have put a tremendous amount of time and energy into what it means to lead in our community. And be rest assured, both of you are stepping onto the foundation board, so they're not getting too far. And for those who are beginning service on our board, and I know some of us are able to be here tonight, many of us are joining online, so if you are online, you can stand up too. Paul Levitt, Renee Florsheim, John Gotts, and Steve Gratch. And for our full board, I'd like to invite all of them. I'd like to recognize those members of our board, and if and as I offer your name, I invite you to please rise. Jerry Levy, Ron Artstein, Karen Ben Shmuel, Kathy Kreda, Justin Perlman, Kate Sakanoff, Scott Sterling, Leah Gerber, Mark Dressner, Jared Golden, Jill Fisher-Granick, Lisa Hill, David Jacobson, Lisa Saltzman, Sherry Sanaga, Cheryl Stahl, and Ed Zweiback. Now, there are a tremendous amount of details that go into what it means to sit around the table and look at the literal numbers of what goes into a temple and how to make this place work. There are a lot of questions that come up and rise to the board level, and all of these different things are essential to what it means to lead in our community. And I think that there are also times where you can be sitting around that table and taking notes and lose the note of what it means to do this work. It is a sacred calling. And even as we sit together around that board table and offer ideas and suggestions and make decisions about the best things for this community, even as that takes place, those have real impacts. And so it is my hope in offering this blessing that I might additionally offer a reminder of the sacred work that those details lead to. God, we ask your blessings upon those who have been elected to serve our congregation. And as they perform their duties, keep them ever mindful of the high purposes to which they and we are dedicated. Help them to be faithful heirs to those who have yet preceded us and worthy predecessors of those who will follow. May their actions reflect strength and wisdom and bear testimony to the great heritage to which they represent. As we give thanks for those who have served our community as officers, may their work and example help shape and inspire the direction of our current and new leaders. As our newly elected officers strive to achieve their goals, may they help to keep us too faithful to our tasks. God, we ask that you grant our leaders strength when they are weary, hope when they are discouraged, patience and perseverance when they face any obstacle. Like those in our Torah who stood out and looked at the new land ahead of them and said perhaps they were like grasshoppers in the eyes of those that they stood in front of. They too knew that there was a strength in them that brought them into this land and brought them into this promised place. And so we thank you for that strength. God bless them and those dear to them with health of body and vigor of mind and serenity of spirit. May their labors reflect honor on our congregation, love to our people, and may they so lift up your name. We say together, Amen. Please be seated. We have so many in our community who are in need of that strength. And just as we turn to one another and say the names out loud, so too are we deliberate in placing the names of those who are in need of healing in the handouts in our that you may have received on your way in. And so I invite you to open up the handout, see if there's anyone that you maybe haven't reached out to in a little while, that you haven't talked to in a little bit. Part of the healing that we call for together as a community is that reaching out, being with one another, finding strength in connecting and having a loving text, a phone call. It is possible to offer love over text. If you're joining us online, I'd like to invite you to share the names of those that you were thinking of in the chat at this time. And together, as one community, I'd like to especially call to mind those who have recently come on to our Misha Berach list. And so our hearts are with Odette Armour, Joel Epstein, Linda Fox, Nancy Lensner, Joe Lissack, Deborah Moser, Sherry Sanaga, Adrian Bard, Jim Kellner, Hank Moyer, Michelle Patton, Mark Schaefer, and Jacqueline Lily Sinowitz. If you're joining us here in our sanctuary and are thinking of someone in particular this Shabbat, I'd like to invite you to share their name aloud as my eyes meet yours. We add to these names Patricia Lopez, Mike Hoffey, Claire Steinberger, Linda Lord, Olivia Escoboza, Michelle Dunn, and Will McHenry. I'd like to invite us to join together the words on page 253 of our prayer books, page 253. Misheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We continue on page 282 of our prayer books. Page 282 at the bottom, I'd like to invite us to please rise in body or in spirit. Thank you. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'teit gedula liyotzei breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam. V'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, u'shemo, u'shemo echad. Thanks, Mark. Please be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those in our community who have died in recent days or in this season in years past. And so if you are joining us online, I invite you to share the names of those that you are thinking of in the chat at this time. Together our hearts are with those who are observing Shloshim, the 30 days after the death of someone near to them, and Shiva, the 7 days after the death of someone near to them. And so as we remember Linda Wool, our hearts go out to Nina Wool and Jonah Wool. And as we remember Amy Sachs, our hearts go out to Joanne and Jerry Levy. Additionally, this Shabbat, we mark the yard site, the anniversary of the death of Frida Edelman, Gertrude Beckerman, Gary Blanchard, Sophie Levitt Kalichman, Ted Cohen, John Condon, Marion Garbato, Abe Gertler, Harold Geiser, Rachel Geiser, Daniel Griffin, Philip Hoffer, Lydia Jacobs, Matilda Krautz, Eleanor Leff, Lillian Levine, Nancy Lindgren, Glenna Martell, Charles Memil, Robin Monroe Levitt, George Panitz, Louis Roskin, Jacob Sherwin, Herman Schnee, Michael Schwartz, Sharon Sloan, Patty Sramek, and Marvin Stern. If you are here, having suffered a recent loss or thinking of someone in particular this Shabbat and you'd like to share their name aloud, I invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours. We add to these Abraham Klubach. I'd like to invite all of us to join together with the words on page 294. Page 294, please rise in body or in spirit. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemeraba, be'alma divrach yirteh ve'amlich malchuteh, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'gala uv'izman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach leolam olmeel maya, it barach v'ishtabach v'it pa'ar v'it romam v'it naseh. Vita dar, vita le, vita lal, shemei de kudisha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim alinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Osei shalom b'mramav, hu ya'asei shalom, alinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yishvei tevel, v'imru, Amen. Zichronam libracha, may the memories of those near to us always be a source of blessing. I invite us together to say, Amen. Well, please be seated. I'd like to invite up a member of our board of directors, Karen Ben Shmuel, to share some of the goings on at Temple Israel. Karen, sorry for inviting you to be seated and then come up. It's quite amazing to me how much is going on. And actually, June and July are very, very quiet months for Temple Israel, for most synagogues. And yet we still have really a lot going on over the summer. Which are all on the piece of paper here.
There we go.
Let me get your microphone. Hang on.
Okay.
Here, Karen.
Thank you. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
First of all, thank you to Amy and Darren Rosenberg for our pre-Shabbat oneg in honor of their daughter McKenna's bat mitzvah. Mazel tov. Tomorrow morning, join with Rabbi Fox for our weekly Torah study beginning at 8:45 a.m. Torah study is offered both in person as well as on Zoom and will be held in Alban Hall. Tomorrow's Shabbat morning services begin at 10:30, and we will celebrate the bat mitzvah of McKenna. Mazel tov again to your whole family. Temple Israel is going to Israel next summer, June 19th to the 30th, 2024. If you are interested or have any questions, come to the meeting this Wednesday, June 21st at 6 p.m., or you can email Rabbi Fox or Cantor Cooper. In celebration of National Pride Month, join us next Friday, June 23rd at 7 for Rainbow Shabbat with special guest cantorial soloist Raymond Zachary for an evening filled with love and pride. We have many classes and programs that meet weekly, so be sure to read your Shabbat program or view our calendar on our website. And if you ever have any questions about how to attend one of our classes or programs, look for our emails or call the Temple office, and the staff is more than happy to help you. Shabbat shalom.
There are really a lot of things going on, and I'll mention that the Israel trip that's coming up is actually a year from right now. So you can start to think about whether you might want to join with, and the idea is Cantor Cooper and I are both going to be on that trip. We're going to be leading it together, and it's going to be, I think, a really great opportunity for us to travel together, to explore together, and to go to Israel. Now, I know that we have Temple Israel, but there is, many of us don't know this, there's a country also with the name Israel, and so it's an opportunity to explore that country and the tremendous history and connections that we have there as well. Well, let's sing together. We have the words, if you want, they're at the bottom of the prayer that we just offered, but you may know them. The words are Oseh Shalom, an opportunity for us simply to mark the peace that we feel by being together on an evening such as this, Shabbat. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. 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 Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom, a Shabbat of goodness, of sweetness. And let's take a little bit of that sweetness and place it right there on our lips with a little bit of Kiddush just outside. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Do some stuff? Okay, yeah. Yeah, let's talk about it. I'm trying to expand my ability to play off less. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds great. Oh, yeah. Oh, Smith. Daniel Smith. Yeah. My mom's Deborah Fabricant. My stepdad is Dr. Clifford Foreman. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. All right. Have a good one, y'all. Excellent. Yeah, thank you, Ron. All right. Probably see you maybe tomorrow.